Hello there. You're listening to the Box Office Show. I'm Ryan Hill.
And I'm Dylan Johnson. Today we're going to talk about the box office numbers from last weekend and our box office predictions for this upcoming weekend.
We'll also cover the winners of the 2025 Emmys, and then later we will continue our director analysis on Rob Reiner by discussing films that came after his legendary streak of classics ended in the mid 90s.
We're going to be discussing movies like North, Rumor Has It, and Shock and Awe to find out if Reiner really did lose his touch or if he still has a few gems up his sleeves.
We're going to start out with some news. We have a lot of news to cover, a lot of things to go over, but unfortunately we have to give some sad news about a Hollywood icon and legend. Robert Redford has passed away at the age of 89. So, of course, Butch Cassidy, Sundance Kid, The Sting, he was Gatsby, he was in All the President's Men, which I'm sure we'll talk about a little later when we talk about some of Reiner's work and inspirations on it. So he was a massive presence on the screen, but also behind the camera. He was a director. He had a debut, Ordinary People, for which he won his only Academy Award for directing. And then he went on to direct many films after that. He sort of shifted in his later career from mainly acting to mainly directing. And then he also had a huge presence in helping indie films. He's the one who started the Sundance Film Festival. And so everything that has been doing for just the festival side of things, but also the labs that they do, all the other stuff that the Sundance Institute does, he was the one that kicked all of that off, which has had huge impacts for decades in the industry. So definitely an iconic figure, and sad that he is no longer with us, but he did pass away peacefully, so that is nice to hear.
Yes, he lived a full life, a very exciting, incredible life. His movies are an inspiration to so many, including myself. Huge fan of Ordinary People, personally. I think that's a terrific, fantastic movie. A huge fan of his acting work, of course. Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid, like you said, his performance in that is so classic. His whole collaboration with Paul Newman. I'm a huge fan of The Sting. Absolutely love everything that they did together. I think they were wonderful, wonderful collaborators, and he had a lot of fantastic collaborations. And he will be missed. I hope that I can attend the Sundance Film Festival this year because it might be the last year it's in Park City, which I would like to see.
Right.
It will be the first festival without Robert Redford present, and I think it'd be fun to finally go and see it and see what the hubbub's about. And I'm sure they'll plan something wonderful in his memory.
Indeed. Very well said. All right. Next up on the news docket, we're going to bring up Jimmy Kimmel.
Dude, that's just crazy.
I'm going to use it as a segue into a broader point I want to make about
Yeah.
Warner Brothers Discovery and stuff like that. But before we dive into the topic, I mean, it goes without saying, but we'll say it anyway. Obviously, political violence is horrific and terrible and should be condemned. It's unacceptable. And that's when it's against anybody on any side. So that is terrible. No one should be shot for exercising free speech.
Of course.
By the same token, no one should be censored by the government for exercising free speech. We're not even getting, I don't even want to get into like what Jimmy Kimmel said and whether or not that would constitute, like a fair rebuke from the FCC or whatever it is. It's fairly obvious, the FCC put their hands on the scales because Trump and Kimmel have had a feud for over 10 years now. Like, it's very clear they don't like each other. And this is just an extension of that. But what we know, what happened was the FCC didn't want Kimmel on the air anymore. The FCC chair, Brendan Carr, said, like, he came out and said, he was like, I think ABC should take action because we don't like those comments. However, the affiliates should also take action to prevent Kimmel from being on air because they may face fines or have their licenses revoked. And then what we saw were the affiliates like Nexstar and Sinclair do that. They were like, we're not going to carry Jimmy Kimmel Show, which is produced by ABC. And then ABC does have some, affiliates owned by themselves where they're able to broadcast the show, but they rely on more local affiliates. Thing is, though, these aren't local affiliates anymore. And the whole deal is Nexstar was incentivized to do what the FCC wanted because they are currently the number one like association that does broadcasting, and they're trying to get even bigger. And in order to do that, to do this massive merger that they're trying to do over the next year, they need FCC approval. So it's an obvious, hey, if you do this thing, take him off the air, we won't punish you, and we may even reward you by giving the go ahead to that merger later down the line. So, like that, the only reason this whole thing is possible right now, where Kimmel is not airing and ABC has suspended him, and that's currently where we're at. We're going to see where this goes. Disney and ABC have been having talks with Kimmel, trying to
Hmm.
see what the future is for his show. But aside from all the, broader political implications of that stuff, as far as what it means for the media landscape, film and TV, and broader these media companies that are the ones that drive all this stuff, mergers and consolidations keep happening. They keep getting bigger and bigger.
Hmm.
It seems like it's constant now. Earlier this year, we had Skydance bought out Paramount, which needed FCC approval. So that happens. Um, in the past, we saw Amazon they took over MGM over the last few years.
Yep.
Disney taking over Fox in the past 10 years. So we've seen this. And right now, Warner Brothers Discovery is up for sale. Like Paramount wants to take over Warner Brothers Discovery. Netflix has also apparently uh, been entering talks to try and take over, buy it out. So what I'm concerned about is that this continues to become a thing, and whether it's down at like the affiliate level for broadcast television, which obviously is
Hmm.
a thing. I mean, that's dying off in various ways. Like again, Kimmel, Colbert, the plug is getting pulled for them rather early, but we knew this is where this is heading. Like people just don't watch, late night television like that anymore.
Yeah.
But it's being pulled early to service these like broader initiatives by these companies to consolidate and have more control, um, and just have more of the like the production of all these shows, but the distribution of all these shows. But it's all getting funneled into the hands of just a very few people and a very few massive companies. And I think this is unhealthy and not going to go well for the industry at large. Because anytime this happens, we saw it happen with Paramount, we saw it happen with Disney and Fox. Every time this happens, it's massive layoffs for the people that are working in the company that gets absorbed.
Yeah.
And then it's also like I don't know, a sanitization of the like content, for lack of a better word, that is being produced there. So like certain production companies or production houses that are within that smaller company that gets absorbed, those will get cut out because the
Yeah. They
big
trim the fat. Yeah.
already has those things. So now they're just going to go in house. So they're going to cut out the ones that are in that smaller company. So
Yep.
those get completely eliminated. And that takes away, again, just like diversity of, again, content, art, whatever you want to call it. The diversity of things get nixed. People lose their jobs and they're not able to find other places to go to. Um, I mean, yeah, we see it all the time. Like the creative heads get nuked. And Warner Brothers Discovery right now, like they just went through this. They got bought out. Discovery was the bigger fish that trimmed all the fat, all the people that were working in a lot of these Warner Brothers smaller divisions, and then now it's going to happen again. They were already trying to like spin off all these smaller things
Hmm.
to make some money, but now if the whole thing gets bought out again, we're going to see that take place, and it's crazy. Like Warner Brothers right now, the movie division at least is on a hot streak. We talked
Oh
about
yeah.
7 straight films, I think 6 or 7 straight films that have made over 40 million in its opening. That's incredible. Like that's crazy,
Yeah.
and a lot of them are original work. Sinners, Weapons. We're about to have one battle after another. Which, whether or not it continues that streak of like 40 million opening, it's going to be, at least as far as critically, it's already a massive hit. It's going to be
Awards
the
juggernaut.
Oscars front runner. It's going
Yeah.
to get tons of nominations. It'll probably win. PTA will probably get his Oscar for all that. So like whether the commercial success is there or not, it's already like done what they wanted to do. It's gained Hollywood prestige, and it's given one of our great American filmmakers and our greatest star at the moment, Leonardo DiCaprio, to create an amazing work that'll go on to be a classic. The people that run Warner Brothers right now, are gonna get cut probably if they get subsumed by
Yep.
Netflix or Paramount, whatever it is. Um, it's just crazy. And then think about it too. Like if there's only a handful of companies, people that are trying to get work made are going to have less opportunities, less
Yeah.
options are out there to get that work made. So it's just that's not good at all for like the media business. And then I mean you can expand it out and look at the broader political landscape and think, yeah, it's not great when these companies or the heads of the companies are going to be able to cozy up to whoever the current administration would be in order to curry favor with them, get some incentives, do all of that, and then the thing that they have to do may be again whether it's silencing certain people like what we see with Kimmel or
Hmm.
trying to just limit the amount of topics that stories that are produced and then distributed by that company can be about. There can be hundreds of different ways they can go about, but whatever it is, it's them no longer being focused on all right, let's have artists make what they want to make. It's instead let's incentivize doing whatever we need to do to satisfy the people who may be at the FCC or whatever other regulate regulation boards there might be, so that we can maximize our profit. And in the long run, that's going to damage our industry and our society. Like it's just not sustainable. It's not healthy. We can't have like the hyper consolidation of content creation,
Hmm.
information dissemination. We just can't have that, or it'll just lead to like societal ruin. Not like full scale collapse, but just like people will get dumber, more divided, and there'll be less opportunities for people to make art. And then God knows what AI will factor into that. Like we'll be having
Oh God.
more and more things produced by freaking
It's become
Grok
like Wally
or
World.
Twitter.
We're just sitting in a chair and getting shoveled food into us,
Yeah,
watching AI content
it'll
on a
be up,
screen.
it'll be idiocracy, and it'll be us getting spoon fed terrible slop, literally made by AI, and that's just terrible. So that's my 2 cents on that right there. Do you have any thoughts you want to share about all
Yeah, I
this?
just think it's always dangerous when companies and universities give in to political pressure rather than remaining separate institutions.
Right.
Obviously things are supposed to work hand in hand with one another, but I don't think government control over independent organizations is ever something that is going to, or the reverse. I don't think corporatism, weighing in on decisions that are government choices is also. I think they should be separate institutions that are responsible for their own individual needs. You have the government sector and the private sector, and they work independently of one another. Uh, Hopefully in some kind of a cooperation, but they should be able. There's supposed to be checks and balances where they're supposed to be able to put pressure on one another, so that really they can't put pressure on anything. And
Hmm.
such a thing does not exist at this moment. And apparently, the current administration has an overwhelming amount of power and the desire to express that power in order to achieve what it wants to achieve, which is putting a stranglehold on progress, a stranglehold on change and development, and just a stranglehold on industry in general, which is tragic.
Indeed. So we will continue reporting on these stories as they develop. At least with the Jimmy Kimmel Live stuff, we'll see if he comes back on air. I think like if Disney, because there's been a huge backlash to it.
As there should be,
Um,
yeah.
so because everyone realized like there's definitely been people that have been saying some crazy stuff about Charlie Kirk, but Kimmel
Yeah.
did not say anything like
He did not.
that crazy. Like you would not bat an eye, and I think most people wouldn't. But they were just told like they saw it as an opportunity, and then they brought it up and feigned all this like outrage about it, and then very quickly, like it didn't even. It was the same day I think that Brendan Carr was like talking about it. It
Yeah.
was like, "Hey, we'll do the easy way or the hard way," and then very quickly, Nexstar and Sinclair were like, "Okay, we'll preempt them," and that kicked off this whole thing. So
It was
again,
a
it
very
wasn't.
good opening. Jimmy Kimmel gave him an opening, and they took it and they struck.
Mhm. So yeah, I think everyone saw that and they were like, "Yeah, this is just them doing it because they really wanted to attack Kimmel," and this was their way to do it. So they're just exploiting that situation. So we'll see what happens. I think Disney, they need to find some solution to try and appease everyone. I think the best choice would be just put him on Disney Plus. Like, give him. I don't know what that would do for all the contracts and whatnot. I'm sure that's why they have to deal with all that. But like just keep him on, but give him like a Disney Plus slot. Now you don't have to worry about the affiliates like Nexstar and Sinclair.
Mm.
Um, but you still have them out there. So yeah, I think that might be the best compromise. We'll see either way. And with Warner Brothers Discovery, I don't know. I'm very concerned at the possibility of Warner Brothers going into anybody's hands. But it's like if it's Netflix, what happens? Like we
Dude,
just got over this HBO Max thing where they took it, made it
Netflix
Max.
Max.
Now they put it back to HBO Max, and yeah, what's it going to be now? We're going to have Netflix Max. Like they're killing Hulu. Disney is right now. It's folding into Disney Plus, which is
Yeah.
insane. Like again, this is a lesser thing, but like the identity of different companies and streamers and whatnot, like Disney is the family oriented thing.
Hmm.
Everything that's been on Hulu and ever owned by Fox is now going to be on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
Like
it's
that,
funny seeing like very, very adult content on Disney Plus
yeah,
because of the Hulu. Like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I think you can stream on Disney Plus, which is very,
yeah.
very funny.
So what's going to happen to HBO in that case is everything just getting folded into Netflix, Uber Netflix. Like who knows what's going to happen? So
Yeah.
we'll see. But now let's go to Emmy 125, which was a celebration, at least of the television side of everything. Very quickly got overshadowed by all this stuff. But yeah, we'll go through, highlight the winners, and then if there are any surprises, we'll shout that out. Outstanding. Actually, before we do that, I don't think either of us watched the ceremony.
I did not.
So I just knew of one bit that Nate Bargatze, is his
Yeah.
name? Bargatze?
Nate Bargatze.
Of because everyone's always like, oh, the speeches go long. So his joke for it was, we'll put 100,000 or however much it was
Yeah,
on
100,000.
the board, but every second they go over 45 seconds, I think they like lose $1,000 or something like that.
Yep.
But then every second they're underneath it, they'll add 1,000. So that was a bit they had, and apparently they had like the ticker on the screen during the person's speech. That I think was maybe a little too far. I think it would have been funny.
I don't fucking care.
One or two cases, but for every single one, which I didn't do for every single one. Like I saw we'll get to it, but Owen Cooper's speech, they're like, maybe we won't put that on for a child that's winning this award. But yeah, they did that, but we obviously knew where it was going to go. Like they weren't going to not donate that to the Boys and Girls Club. So apparently that was the one bit though that he did, and otherwise it was not a very.
I was told every time they came back, they were just doing that one bit over and over again.
Yeah. Which gets annoying because everyone knows, like we've all made 1,000 jokes about like the people going over and then they start playing the speech.
Yeah, Adrian Brody stopping it and doing the longest speech in Oscar history. Yeah.
So like we know it. Doing like bringing this bit up, I think is interesting, but going back to it so many times is just like beating a dead horse. I don't know, probably not the greatest approach. But otherwise, did you hear anything else about like the ceremony or certain presenters or the host?
No, I watched a couple of acceptance speeches. I watched Owen Cooper's acceptance speech and Stephen Graham's acceptance speech, and Tremel Tillman, Britt Lauer, and Hannah Einbinder had a very good speech. So I watched a couple of speeches, and that's about it.
Gotcha. All right, then let's go through the winners. So outstanding lead actor, it was in fact Seth Rogen for The Studio.
Figures.
So I think we saw that coming. But good for him. He took home a lot of other awards that night.
Oh yeah, he did. Crazy. Outstanding reality competition program went to The Traitors, a show that I've never heard of.
It's a recent show. It's like Mafia or Werewolf, but
okay,
somehow extended out to 12 episodes and with minor celebrities that come on there. So
sure.
I don't know. It seems mildly interesting. I feel like again 10 years ago or 15 years ago, if I had more time, I would watch it because that was back when I would watch some reality competitions.
Sure.
So outstanding lead actress, as you said, Britt Lauer to go home for Severance.
I love the little "let me out" thing on the back of her paper. Did you see that?
I sure did.
Very cute. Outstanding talk series, of course, went to The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, as this happened before Jimmy Kimmel was axed. So absolutely tragic because I saw a bit where John Oliver went on Kimmel's show and he was talking about how he was so excited to see Stephen Colbert win. Everybody was excited. And then he thought about it and he thought it'd be really funny if Jimmy Kimmel won. And he was running that bit with Jimmy Kimmel of like, it'd be so funny if you won, like the camera would cut to you and your face would drop and everybody would be like booing you because you're not Stephen Colbert. and they were running that bit, and then literally 3 days later, Jimmy Kimmel canceled, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh my god, dude, that sucks. That's like that. If they really don't bring him back, that might have been the last chance for him to get an Emmy.
Has he never won before?
I'm sure he has, but like that would have been his last opportunity to get another one.
Yeah. Colbert, he had a little bit earlier that was like during one of his shows after Kimmel got canceled, where he was like, and really, Jimmy, you couldn't let me have this just once, and then brought out his
Yeah,
Emmy, and he was like, I couldn't have a week to celebrate.
that's
So
funny.
that was good.
He had a great
Outstanding.
speech though. Stephen Colbert had a fantastic speech.
Yeah, and when he came out, was it for a speech or for a presentation that he did
I
during
didn't
the
see the
night? But he was
presentation
getting
one. I saw them give a standing ovation for the applause, but or the interview. What is it? Fucking the award.
acceptance. Yeah,
Yes, the acceptance that he did, his actual acceptance speech. That was good. That's the only thing I saw him do. I loved it. It was great.
outstanding scripted variety series went to John Oliver over
Beat out
Saturday Night.
SNL on the 50th anniversary.
Yeah,
Gift
but
wrap.
SNL did win for like specific episode, I think, or
Sure.
live special for the SNL 50, so they still got their
Yeah,
Emmy.
of course. Outstanding supporting actor in a drama series. Tremel Tillman, Severance. Fantastic. He's
And
so
he had a
good.
great speech. I saw
He did.
his. It was
Yeah.
lovely. Great
Yeah.
tribute to his
I
mother.
love Tremel Tillman.
All right, outstanding supporting actress in a drama series. This was the first big surprise of the night because I was following, the live updates and whatnot, and I saw this and I
Sure.
was like, no way. Catherine Lanasa won for The Pit over the White Lotus Ladies. So that was
It's
stunning, but
interesting.
again, great, very well deserved. She's like the glue in that show. So very happy. That was a big surprise.
Yeah. Outstanding supporting actress in a comedy series. As I said earlier, Hannah Einbinder Hacks finally won her first Emmy. It's about time. I love her in this show. I love the whole show. And she had a great speech as well. I love the ending of her speech.
Outstanding limited or anthology series. It went to Adolescence. So what
Of
did you
course.
think? Because you thought the hype was behind the Penguin,
I
especially because
really did.
Golden Globes it had swept. So, but this time it was the Adolescence sweep.
There's apparently a lot of hype behind Adolescence. We'll get to that. But yeah, rest in peace, the Penguin. But speaking of the Penguin, outstanding lead actress in a limited or anthology series went to Krista Milioti. It's pretty awesome.
Hmm. Which is good. Did you watch those next few episodes of the Penguin yet?
No, I have not seen it yet.
No, it's tragic.
I heard she gave a great speech though, but I didn't watch it.
Yeah, I think I saw her reaction and I was like, oh, that's great. But yeah, I didn't watch the full speech, but very well deserved for her. So I'm glad she
Yeah.
got that. Outstanding lead actor in a limited or anthology series, Stephen Graham for Adolescence.
Great
Another
win.
big surprise. Everyone was celebrating him once he got
Yeah.
that.
Oh man, they went crazy. And he had a great speech, great tribute to his wife.
Hmm.
A lot of beautiful words. Outstanding supporting actor in limited or anthology series, Owen Cooper, Adolescence. He's the youngest male to win an Emmy ever.
Absolutely.
Good for
Yeah,
him.
which good for him. Honestly, again, yeah, he gave a great performance. So very happy to see him get celebrated like that. Apparently, also he met Jake Gyllenhaal, so he had a great night.
Yeah.
Outstanding supporting actress in limited or anthology series, Erin Doherty for Adolescence. So both of them for episode 3. Definitely well deserved. Again, I think it is a fantastic piece of television. So great
Sure.
stuff. Congrats to her.
Outstanding supporting actor in a comedy series, another surprise went to Jeff Hiller for Somebody Somewhere. It was very, very surprising. It was a very stacked category of a lot of very famous people. And Jeff Hiller was kind of the underdog here. There's a clip of him on the red carpet where they're asking about what he's going to like say if he wins. And he like starts to talk about it, and then he goes, I'm not gonna win. Come on, let's be honest. I'm not gonna win. And then he goes in, and then the next time you see him, he wins.
There we
Which
go.
is great. A lot of
For
support
him.
from like a lot of great reactions from his co-nominees who are all excited for him to be winning. So good for Jeff Hiller.
Indeed. All right, we got some writing and directing categories. So for comedy series, it went to The Studio, Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg, Peter Hoyt, Alex Gregory, and Frida Perez. So
And for writing for a limited or anthology series, Jack Thorne and Stephen Graham for Adolescence. Stephen Graham's third Emmy win for the night since he won for the show itself. Crazy run for him.
yeah, big sweep, but well deserved. Directing for drama series, it went to Adam Randall for Slow Horses, which I feel like is a bit of a, I don't know what people were thinking there, but Severance, Andor were both up there. And then The Pit had a couple episodes, but Slow Horses went ahead and took it.
I guess it was really good. Directing for a limited or anthology series. Did you see how they gave out this award?
I did not. What they
So
do?
we didn't cover this nomination, but it's Elizabeth Banks is presenting the award, and if you look at the nominees, it's five women and one man nominated. Elizabeth Banks says this is the first time for an Emmys directing category that it's been this many women and only one man, and there's a huge applause in the room.
Right.
And she goes to announce the winner, and it's Philip Barantini for Adolescence, the only man nominated. He wins. And I've seen that clip so many times, and every single time she says the name, it plays the Curb Your Enthusiasm. It's
Yeah.
awful, awful.
Why would they set that up? And they do too. It's
They
the
knew he was gonna
anthology
win.
series, adolescents, I'm sweeping everything.
Yeah, they knew he was gonna
Why'd
win.
they do that? Why'd they set him up like that?
Yeah, tough, very tough one. But good for Philip Barantini, I guess.
Yeah.
Tough win,
Directing.
tough group of people to beat.
Directing for a comedy series went to Seth Rogen, the studio. So again, he was cleaning up. I think he had 4 total. So
That
good
son
for
of a
him.
bitch. And writing for a drama series, thank God, went to Andor. Dan Gilroy won for Andor. How awesome is
They got
that?
one. They got
They
one. I
got
mean, they had
one.
other Emmys as well from the one last week with like
Yeah,
VFX, set design, stuff like
technicals,
that.
yeah.
But
But
I'd say they got one on the main show.
Yep.
So good for Dan Gilroy. Tough for Tony Gilroy for not being able to get any himself. But I'm glad the show got celebrated there. Definitely should have had more nominations overall and more wins. Come on. But yeah, outstanding lead actress in a comedy series went to Jean Smart for Hacks.
Woo. I
Which
love her.
not a
She's so
surprise at
funny.
all.
She's
We knew
won
that
like
was happening.
she won every year, I think.
Yeah.
It's a crazy run for her. If she wins the next year, which I think is their last. I think they're only doing 5 seasons. She wins the next one. I think she won an Emmy every single year, which would be a crazy run for her. I hope she gets it.
Yeah, which would
Outstanding lead actor in a drama series. Huge win for you. Noah Wiley for The Pit.
I called it. I said, I feel
You
it.
did.
I feel the hype behind Noah Wiley, and he gave a phenomenal performance. And yeah, he apparently, I think he was nominated 4 straight years for ER. Did not win any of them, obviously. So this is his first win, and I'm thrilled. I'm happy.
Good for
Good
him.
for him. Outstanding comedy series. No surprise. The studio
Of course.
completed its sweep. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. You still got to finish the rest of that
I do.
series. I'm curious of what you think about the rest of it.
And outstanding drama series. Taking the win from Severance. The Pit.
I also noted it was going to be the head-to-head between these two. I felt like the Pit would have a good chance. I still thought Severance was probably going to be the one to take it, but after Kathleen Lanasa, when I saw that, I was like, "Oh, it's done. The Pit will
Yeah.
actually take it."
The
So,
love is there for The Pit, yeah.
so yeah,
People love those kinds of television shows, procedural type TV.
yeah. Again, that's what I said. I was like, "This is
Procedural adjacent, I guess.
the new kid on the block," but it's harkening back to that old school.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like prestige procedural. So it's gonna come back in January in a few months, whereas Severance will come back the end of this
Probably
decade,
2 years,
maybe
yeah.
2 or 3 years. So I think people want to celebrate that. Other factors too, like it films in LA, employs a lot of people there, so it's like people just want to see something like that. It's going to have many seasons, employ many people around the clock, over and over again each year. So yeah, it took the big prize. We'll see how it shakes out next year, though. But overall, I think very solid, uh, like winners across the board. I feel good about the Pit, the studio, and Adolescents taking home the major prizes. How about
Sure.
you?
I feel okay about it, yeah. I still think self-referential, like Hollywood-style comedy is not really my big thing. Like the episodes I've seen are all right, but I don't think it's like it is funny, sure, but at the same time, it's like these are actually just the Hollywood elite making jokes about themselves. Is it that funny? It's not. It's like trying to come off as punk, but it's just not punk.
Right.
So I don't really know. I'm not the biggest fan of the studio. I'll still finish it. I still think it's like made very well. I love Seth Rogen. I just think self-referential stuff in Hollywood is not my big vibe. The Pit, I'm perfectly satisfied with that winning. I think it's cool to, like you said, harken back to those days of old timey procedural TV back in those like mid 2000s and late 90s. I think it's great. A great idea for television to kind of like be putting more effort and money into those kinds of television shows to be pumping out more shows yearly as opposed to just spending a little bit of money on very art house shows that sometimes aren't even actually that good, you know? Putting a
Hmm.
lot of effort into making shows look like movies, but then not actually making them good. And Adolescence was fun.
I'm shocked that you're not as heavy on the adolescence train. I very
It was
much
fun.
am. It would have been in our grab bag when we would have talked about it. I think that's when I was
Uh,
in Bulgaria, so we didn't actually like chat about it. Chat about it.
yeah.
But if you had not or not seen it, I would have recommended it to you. Um,
Oh, I was gonna watch it. I mean, the hype was there. Everybody was speaking about how great it was. So I was going to see it. You know, it was the popular thing of that month was
mhm.
Adolescence on the internet. So I gave it a shot, and it's good. Again, not a big fan of the Warner. I
I
hate to say
can't
it.
again. I knew that would have been a little bit of an obstacle, but I would have thought the rest of it would
The
have
performances are great.
carried. But yeah, I
Those
think
main character performances are fantastic. That's why they won so many acting awards, all very deserved.
yeah,
Uh, don't care for the Warner.
that's crazy. I think it's a masterpiece. But yeah, I would
I
have
think Masterpiece is a
with the
stretch.
same enthusiasm that I recommended Andor to you the first time is how I
That's
would have recommended
insane.
Adolescence.
That's insane because Andor is a masterpiece.
It is, and I think Adolescence is also a masterpiece.
I disagree.
So I'm very happy that it won, and that Stephen Graham especially got all those
Yeah, I love Stephen
accolades.
Graham, so that's fantastic. Well
Yeah.
deserved.
All right, let's head to the box office breakdown for September 12th to the 14th. Demon Slayer Infinity Castle with 70 million in its opening.
I don't know what to do, man. I don't know what to say.
We've said it before. You know, if you listen to the show, you know what we're implying here. Uh, I just want to point out. Well, actually, I've heard Mason, my source on this, says that there's three more movies coming out for Demon Slayer, and they're adapting the entire final arc just as movies. So whoever is running, Demon Slayer, they saw the failure of Attack on Titan to adapt any of their episodes. They're like extended 4-part, 3-part final season into a movie, which would have been so hype. Everyone would have gone and seen it. They left money on the table. Infinity Castle has crossed 500 million worldwide. This mofo is going to be on the top 10 of the year. I remind you, Demon Slayer 2020 technically is like the number one highest grossing film of that year. Most of it was made, or the portion that put it over the top was made in 2021, where it hadn't released in certain markets. But like even back then, it was obvious Demon Slayer was huge. Putting certain like anime episodes or adapting a certain portion of the arc into a movie, people will go and see it. This is a global sensation.
I know. I just thought people weren't watching Demon Slayer that much. You know, this is a sign, though. Uh, this alone, I think, will motivate a lot of American studios to invest in like in anime in general and in trying to recreate this effect globally, like with an American studio backing, and in trying to adapt mangas with American money and trying to make like actual anime films off of TV shows. This will have like a ripple effect, I swear, because this is insane. An insane debut. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah. So we'll see this next week, like how big the drop off is. I'm assuming this will be a massive drop. But yeah, that is a stunning debut. And we're definitely going to have to pay attention to some of these anime films in the future. And then we'll have to see like the
Would
one.
we count them for the box office
I don't know because
draft? Because
my
they're international, but they're worldwide popular. Like,
my whole thing was been the reason I don't want to put Chinese films is because they don't even get released in America. And if they
yeah,
do, like Nija 2 is probably the most significant Chinese film released here in America. And even that only made 25 million. Like the re-release made nothing, didn't even get in our top 10.
yeah,
So uh, America, just in general, as a rule, doesn't care about foreign films. The exception now is clear. It's anime. It's things that come out of Japan. And so I feel like because there's a big domestic audience for it, I feel like we might have to allow like anime films.
yeah. We'll have to talk about it the next time we go to do one of these drafts to
This is
kind of.
twice in a row where a Demon Slayer film has been in
Yeah,
the top 10. So yeah, we'll have to look into that in the future and maybe allow anime titles, at least the ones from Japan, at least like the obvious ones that we know, like okay, Demon Slayer is huge, Jujutsu Kaisen is huge, so stuff like that will maybe allow. But again, the random, like you can't even predict some of the Chinese films that like blow
Yeah,
up and go huge.
it's just because
So
everybody in China goes and sees it.
yeah, it's the
It makes
national
it
holiday
makes
that they
$800 million just in
for
China.
the New Year's Fest or whatever. It's like a week or two that they like, yeah, they like send people to the theaters and they watch all these stuff. So yeah, but we'll keep an eye on that in the future because this is insane. Good for
Absolutely.
them and good for all
Yeah,
the Demon Slayer fans that got to see an incredible adaptation on the big screen.
yeah.
If
Rest in
only.
peace, Attack on Titan. In second, The Conjuring: Last Rites with 25 million.
hmm Downton Abbey, the grand finale, debuting to 18.1 million. So it was over the most recent Downton Abbey film, but didn't quite get to the 20 mil that I was looking for.
The Long Walk, I believe, also in his debut at a measly 11.7 million.
Indeed, Toy Story made 3.4 million in its 30th anniversary re-release.
Impressive. Cracked the top five. Weapons made 2.7 million.
Hamilton with 2.2 million.
Freakier Friday, 2.1 million.
Spinal Tap 2, The End Continues, 1.6 million. Talking about Rob Reiner. There we go.
And The Sound of Music in its 50th anniversary release, 1.6 million.
50th or 60th?
Is it
How
60th?
old is that movie? I don't
I
know.
don't fucking know.
I feel like it's pretty, it might be 60th. But
Let me look it
three
up.
re-releases in the top 10.
September slow, man.
As you said, like the fourth or fifth
It is
total Freaky
60th.
Friday movie is in the top 10. One original horror film, Weapons, one Stephen King adaptation, the third film of Downton Abbey, which is movie adaptations of a television show, the fourth Conjuring movie, which is like the seventh, eighth, or ninth total Conjuring film in the universe, and then a Demon Slayer movie, an anime movie,
Which is another adaptation of a television show, technically.
adaptation of a television show, and that being like what the fourth Demon Slayer movie, at least second that was put out in theaters for a wide release. So insane top 10. Like this is wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as next weekend, September 19th to the 21st, we have a couple new releases. Him, the Jordan Peele produced but not directed film about football and a horror film and Marlon Wayans. What do you think this one's going to get?
25 to 30.
25 to 30. Okay.
Yep. It's the first like really big original thing to pop out other than The Long Walk, and I think people will want to see it. It's been advertised like crazy, and they put Jordan Peele on literally every single piece of advertising.
They did. They were
So
pushing that
there are
hard.
so many people who are convinced that he's actually directing it that I think they'll show up thinking he's the filmmaker.
Here's the issue: bad film and very poorly received thus
Uh,
far. People have not been taking a liking to it.
that sucks.
Terrible scores. So I would have agreed, like, if it were great, if they actually nailed it, I
Mhm.
think it would go to like 25 mil, something like that. I think it will probably be like 15 mil. I
We'll
think there's
see.
already going to be a dampening effect on people going to see it. And then a big, bold, beautiful journey. Margot Robbie, Colin Farrell. What do you think this film is going to get?
Like 10, 8 or 10.
I'm going lower as well, like 5 million. Because this
Yeah.
also has poor reviews, which is sad. Because I
Full
thought,
reviews and no advertising for it for whatsoever. I've seen a couple of trailers in theaters sometimes, but like I don't really see Margot Robbie and Colin Farrell going out and talking about it.
that's true.
I don't see like a lot of hype for it. I hear very mid things for it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Eh.
unfortunate. But let's dive into our main topic. Rob Reiner, director analysis part 3. So again, outside of our month of Coppola, Rob Reiner, I believe, is the first director to get a third installment on his director analysis. So, of course, those first two parts covered his legendary streak in the 80s and early 90s. But, Dylan, we're talking about that post legendary streak, his downfall, if you will, where it has been, famously said that he has not made a good movie since A Few Good Men. So we will take a look at that. I have the list of the 15 films he's made since A Few Good Men,
There's a lot.
in the 90s to the current year. Spinal Tap
15
2.
films in 30 years is a lot.
It is a lot, but there's also a pretty big gap somewhere in there. So because he's always
Mm,
been very prolific, but yeah, he slowed down a bit here the last 10 years, especially.
yeah.
So I'm gonna say the film. I want you to say whether you've first heard of it, and then second if you've watched it, and if so, good or bad.
Okay.
We will omit the films that we're going to talk about for this one. So
Okay.
North, we're going to save. After North was The American President, 1995.
I've heard of it, never seen it.
Okay, I've heard of it, seen it. It's good. I like it.
Okay. I've heard good things. Okay.
Yeah, again, it's Sorkin. He wrote it, so uh, that of course is going to make me partial to it,
Sure.
and I think it is well directed. So yeah, The Ghosts of Mississippi in
Heard of it.
1996.
Heard of it, never seen it. Of course I've heard it. This is very famous.
Heard of it, never seen. The Story of Us, 1999.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it either. Alexa and Emma, 2003.
Alex and Emma.
Alex and Emma, 2003. Sorry for the trigger.
God. Oh. Never heard of it.
Also, never heard of it. Rumor has it.
Skip that one.
Before this one, have you ever heard of it before we did it for our show?
I had never heard of it before this show.
Never heard of it before the show. The Bucket List.
Of course I've heard of this. Absolutely. I have not seen it though.
Heard of it, seen it. It's okay.
Okay.
Kind of charming though. Morgan Freeman, Jack Nicholson. I mean, that's charming, but not classics.
Sure.
Okay. Flipped, 2010.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it. The Magic of Belle Isle, 2012.
Never heard of it.
I think I partially heard of it because Morgan Freeman's in that as well, but never seen it. And So It Goes, 2014.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it either. Being Charlie, 2015.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it either. LBJ, 2016, but this is the one with Woody Harrelson, not the one with Bryan Cranston.
Yes, I have heard of this because I've seen the poster and I've seen Woody Harrelson on the cover looking like LBJ. And he just doesn't look like LBJ, he just looks like Woody Harrelson.
Yeah.
And so I always see the poster and I'm like, they didn't even like do any makeup to him whatsoever to make him look more like LBJ. It just looks like Woody Harrelson. So I was not interested, but I have heard of it, technically.
Yeah. I guess I have also technically heard of it, but I always thought the LBJ movie that Reiner made and then the one with Bryan Cranston, I thought they were one and the same. I did not realize there were two separate movies about LBJ that came out the same year.
Yeah.
So technically heard of it, but never seen it. Shock and Awe, 2017.
Before this episode, I had heard of it because for the longest time, I was Rob Reiner fan, and this was the last movie that he made, until the last few years. And so it was like I thought that maybe he was done making movies. He had a huge gap in his filmography at this point, and so I was like, oh, maybe Rob Reiner's like throwing out the towel, especially on like specifically like fiction, like narrative filmmaking, because we're going to talk about the documentary he did, but this was the last narrative feature he made until this year, and so I was like, maybe Rob Reiner's just done now. Hang up the towel. He's getting older, and this might be his just final narrative film. Is Shock and Awe. So I've heard of it in that regards.
Gotcha. Had not heard of it previously. Albert Brooks, Defending My Life, 2023.
Heard of it, heard good things, and really would like to see it because I'm a big fan of Al Brooks. I'm a big fan of Defending Your Life, the movie that the title is based on. I mean, it's a documentary about Al Brooks in general, but the title is a reference to Defending Your Life, which is one of my favorite movies. And I like Al Brooks, and I'm interested in seeing it. Heard good things.
And then Spinal Tap 2, of course, we've very much heard of it.
And
You've seen it.
I've seen it.
Interesting. All right, so I'll put a pause on that. We'll find out at the end of the episode here that we're doing what you think of it. But the ones that we were talking about today, North, Rumor Has It, and Shock and Awe, so each from different decades, one in the 90s, 2000s, and 2010s. But talking about, the whole thing of Reiner had this legendary streak, and then afterwards he didn't make any good movies anymore. I guess partially true, because we haven't even heard of like any of these movies that he's made. Like,
the exceptions are The American President, which you say is good, Ghost of Mississippi, which is at least notable. People know it. I think somebody won an Oscar.
I think it's well received.
Yeah. So, yeah. And The Bucket List is very famous. That's the origin of the term bucket list comes from this movie. Like,
which has impact, So otherwise, and what's funny is I don't think people know that the movie like really exists, but they know the bucket list, like the idiom itself. So fascinating that none of those films have become classics. Maybe one, The American President, is like solidly good, and then the rest are completely forgotten. So
Yeah.
we'll talk about these three films and see where we fall. Are they forgotten for good reason, or is there an underrated gem somewhere in the mix? So we'll talk about North 1994, which is famous for being the legendary streak breaker, and called it the combo breaker, the first part that we did on this. So yeah, famously hated by Roger Ebert. You
Oh
know,
yeah. He
he
hated this movie.
indeed,
Is the famous quote.
yeah,
A quote so famous it's more famous than the movie itself.
exactly. So we had not seen it before this, but we knew, again, like all those other films, never heard of it. North, you know of it at least in reference to that quote, or at least like, okay, this is the one where the streak ends.
Yeah.
So very notorious for us. Now that we have actually seen it, his take on this kids oriented comedy, which has a stacked cast, by the way.
Called in every favor he had to make this
That's what
movie.
I'm saying, because it's like he's beloved, he has all these connections, everything. So he's bringing all these people who are expecting, like, yeah, Reiner hasn't made a bad film. In fact, he's made only classics, all bangers. Yeah, I'll be a part of that. Easy. Like, that's the easiest yes you could have.
Yeah.
So Elijah Wood, a young Elijah Wood, Bruce Willis, Jason Alexander, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, John Lovitz, Reba McEntire, Kathy Bates, Dan Aykroyd in there, Alan Arkin, all these people, even more. So, stacked cast. Dylan, what did you think of North?
It's fucking awful. Oh my god, it's so bad. The whole time I'm watching, I'm like, what is going on? They're talking down to the audience so badly. They're aware that they're trying to market to children, but they are refusing to admit that children have any semblance of intelligence whatsoever. It's not a funny movie, even slightly. Every time that there's even like the semblance of a joke, they kind of set up the joke and then they explain the joke and then they explain the explanation on top of the joke. And so at no point is this movie even funny. Bruce Willis's character is entirely unnecessary. I don't know why he's there. I don't know why every single time Elijah Wood sees him, he has to try and like acknowledge the fact that, oh, you're the guy. And then every single time they do the bit where he goes, what are you talking about, kid? And it's like, are you going to do this every single fucking time? Every family he visits is just a stereotype on something that is just not funny and borderline like horribly offensive. And at no point am I laughing. At no point am I enjoying it. The only saving grace is the B subplot with Winchell and John Lovitz has some kind of funny moments. And that's really it. But the whole movie is terrible, horribly written, horribly paced. I don't care about any of the characters. I don't care about anything that's going on. I think it's fucking awful. And to quote Roger Ebert, I hated this fucking movie.
There you go. For me, for the first 30 to 40 minutes,
Uh,
I was enjoying myself. I
all
was
right.
actually like, wait. And I was trying to put myself in the mindset of like, if I watched this as a kid, like, would I be enjoying this? Because that's clearly what he's trying to do here is like make it, a kid's movie. So I'm
Sure.
like, if I'm watching it through that lens, okay, would I be enjoying what's going on? Would I be intrigued? I think the basic premise, which I think we talked about on one of the earlier Reiner episodes, something like that, of like the kid's a free agent and he's going around. I'm like, this is so stupid. Watching them actually set it up in the thing, still a little stupid. But I'm like, okay, like the premise of this kid feels like he's underappreciated by his parents. He just wants to spend time with them. But
The log line of the movie, a kid gets legal emancipation and becomes a free agent to find better parents, sounds like the plot to like a Wes Anderson movie.
yeah,
And there's simultaneously like too much sincerity in the movie for me to really think it's a comedy and not enough sincerity for me to take it at all seriously. It's
mm,
like a really bad middle ground of trying to be kind of like a parody film of like all these like visual gags and bits that could make a kid laugh or like make even an adult laugh, like Airplane or
right.
something, have these visual funny gags, but then also trying to land a very sincere note that just isn't there. And I think had they just leaned all the way into the visual gags and not taken itself seriously at all, maybe you could have salvaged this one.
Maybe a little bit, but I like that they were trying to, because when they set up that premise, I was like, okay, I like, clearly the message is going to be like, okay, like you can't choose your parents. You have your specific set of parents for a reason. And so him like rebuilding that bond with them, I was like, that's where it's going, which is a good message for kids, right? We're making kids film. I'm like, okay, very nice. And
Sure.
then the setup of he's going to go to all these different families and just live a life with them, a day in the life with them. I was like, comedically, that's very rich. It has a lot of good potential because you can have, again, the parents act in different ways and he learns a lesson from each one of them. And that brings him closer to realizing like, okay, I need to give my parents another chance, even though they may be imperfect. I'm like, okay, the pieces are there, like in concept. And I like that. And then the first 20, 30 minutes, I was down with the execution of it. And then it got to a certain point where I was no longer plugged in. You said the Lovitz and the other kids subplot. The very beginning, I was kind of bought into that, but quickly I was like, I don't care about any of this. This is annoying.
I got to a point where I was so bored with the rest of the movie that the only thing that made me laugh were very small moments with Winchell. Like I think it's funny when they have the protest and they're going "Viva el Norte, Viva el Norte," and John Lovitz is cheering with all these kids.
Hmm.
I think it's a funny
I
shot
thought
of
that
him
was funny,
cheering.
like the little
Yeah,
kid revolution. I thought it was an
yeah.
interesting idea. But then it went so far into it that I'm
It
like,
goes crazy because they're getting the massage, and John Lovitz is like, "Well, I'm worried about what I'm going to become. So, what do you got for me?" And Winchell goes, "I don't know, Arthur. How about the presidency?" Dude, I laughed so hard because I was like, "There's no fucking way that they're leaning. He's leaning this heavy into Winchell's character because he started off as the editor of the school newspaper, and
yeah,
now he
you thought it was
runs
supposed to be
the
a one
planet."
bit scene
Yeah,
and then he was gone. But no, yeah, it became
he
so
becomes
critical
the
of the
main
rest of
antagonist, and he runs the planet. Dude, I laughed when after Julia Louis Dreyfus and Jason Alexander wake up when Winchell is like interviewing them to set up the fake tape to trick North.
it.
At the very end, he says goodbye, and Jason Alexander goes to shake his hand, and he shakes it, and then changes it into a dab up, and he dabs up Jason Alexander, and Jason Alexander kind of looks at him weird and just walks away. Dude,
Yeah,
I thought that was so funny. And then I thought it was also funny when North runs back into his childhood home and he's looking for his parents and he busts into the kitchen and Winchell's just sitting on the whole kitchen counter and he goes, "Hello, North. Happy Labor Day." And then that's it. That's all he says.
yeah. There's some good bits in there. I think, like as you said, the going to each of the prospective families just becomes a bunch of stereotypes and
Horrible
like what are we doing?
stereotypes, yeah.
Uh, but I will say, watching Reba McEntire just give a song and dance number while
With Dan
Elijah
Aykroyd.
Wood is sitting there with like the little stupid hat on or whatever, and he's like, "What is going on?" I'm like, "This is fun. Like this is stupid, but it's fun." And
It
then
lost me.
they
Like
progressively got worse. Like I was okay with that one,
oh
even
dude, it gets
though
so much worse.
because again, it's a huge stereotype. It's just Texas and they're all big and they're fat and whatever, so it's making fun of country
I
bumpkin.
got the best and the biggest.
But you're like, okay, we're more used to that, or at least more socially acceptable. We go to Hawaii, again, not too bad. Then it just
I
keeps
think it's
getting worse. So we have
funny.
Kathy Bates come in as
Hang on. I think it's funny that
Eskimo.
in the Hawaiian one, the uh the whole point, like the thing that convinces North to not want to be there is that they're trying to advertise him so they can convince people to not just vacation in Hawaii, but move there.
Yeah,
When everything we know, historically speaking, about the native Hawaiian people and what they would prefer is for people to not even visit the island, let alone move to their island.
yeah,
It's like a total, complete, like, ignoring of the actual desires of the native Hawaiian people. And there's obviously nobody on set to inform that decision because the people playing the two Hawaiian parents are just Asian. They're Asian actors. They're not Hawaiian at all.
hmm
And then we get to the Alaskan one where there's no Alaskan representation. There's Graham Greene, who is Native American, and Kathy Bates, who's just a white woman, and Abe Vigoda, who's
this is
Italian.
crazy. Just wild. No idea. I mean, I guess that's the '90s for you, but wow, not the greatest
Rough
decisions there.
stereotypes. They're all living in igloos. They have like a garage door opener to get into the igloo with the sled dogs.
Hmm.
It's just like unfunny stereotypes.
Yeah, so that's where it lost me. The first couple,
When your Alaskan
I was
grandparent
okay.
gets too old, you put them on a shelf of ice and you just kick them off into nowhere, and they're sitting on the shelf of ice with like a television and a lounge chair.
Hmm.
It's tough, dude. That's rough.
Very silly. But there was some stuff like the plane landing and just skidding. I thought
That's kind of funny.
was
Yeah,
funny.
sure.
Here's my issues. Then they kept beating the dead horse over and over
That's
again.
what
They
I'm
kept like bringing it
saying.
up, and I was like, it was funny when you said if I were coming in for our skidding or whatever, and then you just see it skid past the
They
airport, and
come
it's
up
like,
with
okay,
one good
that's
joke and they
funny.
milk it. I thought
And
John
yeah,
Lovitz's entrance where he's chasing the ambulance, I thought that was funny. Like he's physically like tailgating the ambulance and he slams on his brakes. I was like, oh, that's funny. He's an ambulance chaser. And then
mhm.
they bring up the fact that he's an ambulance chaser like three more times in that conversation. And I'm like, dude, it was funny when he just like was chasing it and hit his brakes. And I was like, I get it. I get the joke. We can move on now.
the amount of times they made Elijah Wood say "my crack"
Dude.
in that Hawaiian thing, which again, the first time it popped up, I'm like, oh, that's funny. Obviously we all know the suntan lotion, whatever it is that has that logo.
Yeah.
And obviously he'd be upset by that. Like, what are you doing advertising my
My
crack?
crack.
But then he says it
My
18
crack?
times.
My crack on the billboard and my crack at the airport?
Yeah. And I'm like,
You
what are we
put my
doing?
crack out there? My crack?
He, number one, couldn't say any other thing than crack. Like, couldn't bring up anything else
He was hysterical.
to
My
add to
crack.
it. And then it's just not funny after the first time, like, enough. So that was my issue with like most of the comedy. They just kept beating it down over and over again because there's some funny stuff in there.
It
Bruce
was
Willis,
unfunny, and then the things that were funny got overdone because they knew it was the only funny shit they had.
exactly, which is not good. Bruce Willis, I will say, and again, maybe it's just like the hindsight and whatnot, but he just seems like he's having fun in this part.
He's
I just
charismatic.
enjoy watching him. He's in the Easter Bunny costume. He's in the, whatever stupid uh, cultural place that they're doing. He's just
Yeah,
in full dress of that, and I'm like, he's having fun. I'm
sure.
enjoying that part of it. Same
Terrible
with,
narration in the beginning, though, and at the end, whenever he's doing the narration, it's
yeah,
just the most god awful, boring, hating his job kind of narration that you could possibly imagine.
some
And I
Harrison
think
Ford flavor in that narration.
his character is entirely unnecessary. I think it's stupid when he shoots the coin and he gives it to him, and then he gives the coin to the homeless person, and he gets the coin back, and then he wakes up from what turns out to be the whole thing being a fucking dream, and he has a coin in his pocket.
I do think it's
Fucking
funny that he gives a coin that obviously half of it's not there, and he's like, maybe this will help you, and he's like, bro, this will not help me. What do you mean? So a
yeah.
random coin with a hole through it. Um, but yeah, I'm fine with that part because again, it's a child fantasy. Is it a dream? Is it like
I don't want to
guardian
be a
angel
dream. I
thing?
think it's just stupid.
Again, it was a little disappointing, but obviously, the whole thing is stupid, so I didn't care that much. It was in line with like, oh, the child fantasy part of it, so I was okay with that aspect. Um, I
So
just
you're
like
saying that part of
seeing
his dream
Fast
is
having fun.
he's dreaming an A story as well as a B story that cuts away every once in a while to
Yes,
add intrigue to his dream.
that's what's so stupid about it, and why that B plot shouldn't be there. But yeah, I don't know. It's not. It doesn't really click. It doesn't make sense. It's
It's
not the
dumb.
greatest writing in the world. But I'm like, I don't get that much. I wasn't invested in the logical constraints of this kid being a free agent that needs to have it done by Labor Day, arbitrarily decided by that judge. With the parents, that was funny. The defense rests, Your Honor.
That is
The
a good
defense
joke.
rests.
They're
And
just
again, like
laying there.
seeing at the peak of like Seinfeld, Jason Alexander and Julia Louis-Dreyfus up here just going for it. I'm like, okay. So I don't know.
Not,
I
not not
enjoyed,
just the peak, right at the tail end. This is right when it was ending.
which is the peak. I mean, it was like the biggest, most watched thing ever, right?
Yeah,
It was the Seinfeld finale. So, I
yeah.
mean, there you go. I don't know. I enjoyed seeing these like cast members, aside from the Kathy Bates thing. That one's extremely tough. But again,
Yeah,
like Reba
come on.
McEntire doing her thing, a lot of John Lovitz doing thing. The Seinfeld peeps as the parents. I enjoyed that part of it, but it is very boring. A lot of it's very unfunny, unfortunately, because I thought the premise
Holy
was
shit, it's
not
unfunny,
terrible.
man.
So I don't know what like went wrong. What went wrong throughout this whole thing?
I'm telling
But
you, it's simultaneously too sincere and not sincere enough.
in
It
another
just hits a
world,
weird tone. The tone is just tough, man,
yeah.
and
So
just wildly unfunny and incredibly boring.
how many cardinal directions out of 5 are you giving it?
Given
Half?
a half of one, yeah.
That's crazy.
I really hated it.
You enjoyed it more than half. Come on now.
No, I
Is
fucking
that the
didn't.
lowest
I
score that's
hated
ever
this
been
movie.
given? That's
It's on.
insane.
It's the same score I think I gave Minecraft movie.
Did we cover Minecraft movie on the show? I don't think we did.
Maybe we didn't, but if we had covered Minecraft movie, I would have given that one a half.
That's crazy. Wow.
It's really fucking bad. We don't usually talk about movies that are like this atrocious on this show. We usually stick to movies that we can find good things to say about. There's very little I can say that I enjoyed about this movie. It's
Dang,
up
that's
there as
crazy.
being one of the worst movies I've seen. It's worse than what's it called?
House
The
of
Ridley Scott
Gucci.
movie, House of Gucci. Yep, you knew exactly what I was gonna say. It's worse than House of Gucci by a lot. It's worse than no, it's not worse than a Minecraft movie. A Minecraft movie is definitely worse, but
That's
this is
crazy.
still pretty
Again, I
bad.
enjoyed again just seeing like with the context of everything we have now, seeing Bruce Willis doing his thing, again, seeing the Seinfeld people at their peaks doing this stupid stuff. Reba
I did
McEntire thing.
not. I did not.
Child actor Elijah Wood, who's very good in the part. Um, I don't know. I think it has at least the first 40 minutes has like a bad that it's good quality to it. It really does fall off a cliff though towards the end.
Dude.
But some of the stuff you didn't like the Emperor cut when he was in China,
No. It's just another
as if he
stereotype.
was the Emperor's son or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, I thought that one was fine. That was okay.
They're doing like the last emperor bit where he's just in front of he's like
Yeah.
in the royal palace in front of all the monks.
Hmm.
No, it's tough. It's a tough watch, man. I didn't like that he didn't want to stay with the African family because the wife didn't wear a shirt and he was just staring at her boobs.
Right. Yeah.
Also, just a bad stereotype. The whole thing, man. Especially, yeah, you're right. I forgot about all this bit especially when he goes international, it just gets rough. The French people who just can't stop watching Jerry Lewis for some reason.
That one was a little funny though.
Bizarre. Just bizarre.
Like he's getting everyone at least, you know.
I just feel like they're
Got the
making a
French people in
stereotype
it.
that I don't understand. Like, is it a stereotype that French people really fuck with Jerry Lewis?
I don't know, but I thought that was pretty funny. Again, just in context of like every other, the broad strokes for all these other cultures. Again, it's like Africa as a whole getting the broad stroke of like, oh, the tribal stuff, and then just French in particular. Like he went very honed in on that one. So yeah, not great. I'd give it a 2 cardinal directions out
Oh,
of 5.
no, I'll give it a
'Cause I think
half.
there's some enjoyable stuff, especially in the first half there, but definitely rough. Definitely, I can see why this one was the the streak ender.
I understand why Roger Ebert hated this movie.
It's just sad. Like the premise of it isn't actually the worst thing in the world. So, and you would think Reiner would have been able to do a home run with this, but alas, he did not. Now, rumor has it, 2005, it is him going back to the romantic comedy. Again, he's the king of romantic comedy in some ways, right? When Harry Met Sally, I
Yeah,
think you and I both agree,
Princess Bride.
greatest romantic comedy there is. So he comes back to this genre. He's also bringing in The Graduate. So we got some film love in here. I love The Graduate, 5-star film. We have Jennifer Aniston, who I love, Kevin Costner, Mark Ruffalo, Shirley MacLaine in this. So
Another stacked
got
cast.
great cast as always. My impressions of this.
Please tell me.
I hated this movie.
I
I
agree.
hated this movie.
I agree.
This is terrible.
It's so bad.
awful. It's awful. And what's
You
worse,
can tell that the guy who wrote it was like, I really want to make The Graduate 2, and I have a really good idea for The Graduate 2, and they just couldn't get the rights, and so he was like, well, what if it's based on the family that The Graduate's based off of? Like, he's just trying to make I think I read somewhere that it was originally supposed to have Anne Bancroft and Dustin Hoffman in it, which would have been wild.
yeah,
And it's just, it takes all of the drama and like the nuance that was in the original Graduate and just throws it out the window for a rom-com tone. Fucking terrible. Fucking terrible. Terrible lessons at the end of it.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, even just building up, because the moment we started going towards it, I'm like, I swear to God, if they have Jennifer Aniston sleep with,
Dude, I know. I was doing the
yeah,
same thing.
initially thought was the dad.
Don't do it. Good, because
The
they do the
moment
whole
it
thing where
happened, I'm
I
like,
thought the plot was
wow.
going to be she finds out that her dad, her real dad, is like the Ben Braddock character, and that's like world shattering.
Yeah,
I thought that'd be like a crazy thing, and I was like, I'm on board for that movie. Like, this could be fun. I thought the first like 30 minutes were fine. It's kind of like awkward, not great comedy, but Jennifer Aniston is holding her own amongst like a bunch of cinema giants, and she's doing a really good job of like keeping the story moving and being that main character. So I really respect her for that.
yeah,
And like the movie's pedaling along. Mark Ruffalo is doing some weird stuff. He's like not necessarily likable, but he's there, which is kind of
yeah,
odd to be like a like the love interest that she does eventually end up with to not be like too likable. It's kind of a weird choice. I'm on board. Like Shirley MacLaine is just doing a really good Anne Bancroft impression from the original Graduate,
yeah,
and I'm on board with all that stuff. And then I like the basic premise that this woman finds out her family has this huge scandal that got turned into like this worldwide phenomenon, and she has to like cope with it. And then we meet the Kevin Costner character. I'm like, oh, he's going to turn to be your father. I'm really getting into this. This is really getting great. And then he drops the bombshell that there's absolutely no way, 100% impossible for him to be her father. And then they start going out that night. And I'm like, oh, maybe she'll like see him as a father figure. Maybe they'll get along, and then they start to flirt a little bit. And I'm like, and then she goes to the bathroom and she starts to like fix her outfit and like fix her hair, and I'm like, don't do it.
Well,
What are you
even before
doing?
that, because they were like staring in each other's eyes,
They dance, yeah,
and
they dance
she
before
she
that.
does the whole thing, looks down
Yeah,
from the rehearsal, right?
yeah.
So pulls that one, and I'm like, "Don't do it." And then
I
she
know.
stops, goes
I
to the
was saying that,
bathroom,
dude. I
and I
wish we
was
had
like,
watched this together. I
"Nice."
wish we had watched this together because I'm in my living room. The house is empty, and I'm going, don't do it. Don't do it. Do not do this.
Yeah,
Please don't do it. I'll hate this movie if you do it. Please don't do it. I
exactly.
wish you had been there with me for this. And then she goes and she gives him like a peck on the lips, and I go, oh, it's okay. I could see where like maybe this will be like a really fun plot point of like, oh, she tried to kiss him, or like she kissed him like briefly, and then she's like, oh, I can't do this. You were with my mother and my grandmother. Like, what am I thinking?
Yeah,
I have the same curse as them. Like, I was like, this could be fine. And then she just smacks into him and immediately like cuts to the morning after, and she's laying in bed naked. And I'm going, no, no, what have you done?
yeah. Like, come
Think
on, what
about
are you
think
doing?
about the implications of what you've done. Oh, I'm thinking like, dude, Bo Burrows, like, who are you as a man that allows this to happen?
That's what I'm saying. Like, you know
How do you get
what
in
she's going
fucking
through.
three
You heard everything.
generations, man?
Even if that wasn't the case, like, just you don't do that. That's insane. What are you doing? You're
How do you
with
help
her
three
mom,
generations of the same family cheat on their
her
partner?
dead mom, and then the grandma as well. Like, this is
He's the
ridiculous.
other man three fucking times.
So that's insane. And yeah, I just don't like because again, earlier in the film, even when it was under the thing of like, oh, it may be the dad, I was suspecting. I'm like, this could go this other way because again, it's like a romantic comedy, and I'm like, if this
Yeah, and
whole
it's
film is
also,
about her meeting her dad, that's not a romantic comedy. So what are we doing?
yeah, it's also
Um,
The Graduate. It's like supposed to be this awkward like sex dynamic in the
exactly,
family,
yeah.
like a scandal kind of thing.
So I'm like, I didn't like that. And then when Mark Ruffalo, especially, is like, yeah, go off and like find your dad, do this, this, and that. I'm like, I don't like that this movie isn't rewarding the fact that like Mark Ruffalo trusted her and knew that this was like something she had to do, had to find out on her own, go through it, and then
And the
Bill
motherfucker has seen
Burrows.
The Graduate. Mark Ruffalo has seen The Graduate. He knows what this
That's
man's
true,
capable of.
and no,
Okay, we've
he
seen
knows
what he can
that.
do.
So I just don't like that. It's like okay, then she goes off and like she's struggling with the marriage, and okay, like I get that, but I also didn't know why it's even to the level where she's going to a cheat it all and then b cheat with, as you said, the other man for her
The other two
mother
generations
and
of her
grandmother.
family.
Like this is,
God.
I just don't see like that. If she's gonna crash out and like has cold feet and needs to cheat or whatever with him, like this is insane. So didn't like that. And then towards the end, like Mark Ruffalo takes her back after all this. I'm like, what? Why? Why would you do that? It just doesn't make sense. And
I
also,
hate the last line where he goes, "If we ever have a daughter, Bo Burrows is not allowed anywhere near her." I hate that. I hate that so much. Do you think he would go for round four? That'd be crazy. He would be like
dude,
fucking 80 years old, 80 or 90 years
he
old.
probably would based on this
Oh,
information.
God, dude, it's awful.
So
And then I hate the scene where Bo Burrows shows up at the house and he talks with Shirley MacLaine, and Shirley MacLaine is like, "Look at what you've done. Look at this horrible thing." And he's like, "You did this to me," which like you can maybe make the argument that in the original Graduate, Ben Braddock is a little bit like susceptible to Mrs. Robinson's wiles and might be like he does have the line, "Are you trying to seduce me, Mrs. Robinson?" You could make the argument that he was maybe taken advantage of a little bit.
but he wasn't even with the daughter at that point, right? Like that
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
came
I'm saying like
later.
in the isolated event of Mrs. Robinson seducing Ben Braddock, you can make the argument that he was somewhat taken
But even
advantage
that,
of.
that's just an older woman, and he's a college graduate. Didn't he have his master's or
Yeah,
something? Like he's mid-20s, something. Like
he's
he's,
like I think he's 21 in the movie or 22. Like he got a master's like super early.
by the
He's
way,
young.
he's an adult. He can do whatever he wants, and it's not even like I'm dating your daughter currently. That wasn't even the case. So it wasn't even like that. So
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like Bo Burrows does not have two legs to stand on here to like
not at all.
be on a high horse. He has no soapbox to be standing on in this moment. And then I hate that in this moment, Shirley MacLaine's character decides to talk about how upset she was that Bo Burrows dumped her for a different woman, and it's like, what are we doing here? It's been 40 years since you saw this motherfucker, and he just slept with your granddaughter. Are you not more pissed off?
Yeah, she should be incensed because
Yeah,
he also, by that line of like, you did this to me once, so you're admitting you intentionally tried to seduce the person that you knew was the daughter of the now dead person you hooked up with all that time ago when it was her wedding,
and
and you're
also the
doing the same thing
granddaughter of
to
the woman
her
you also hooked up with.
when she's in a vulnerable state, is in an engaged relationship, should be having a wedding instead of talking around being like, hey, the lesson of me and your mom was ultimately that, she was having cold feet, but she knew that she loved him, and you shouldn't do this. You shouldn't make the same mistake, especially not with the same guy. No, he's just like, okay, sweet. Third generation. There's my bucket list crossed off. Like, what are we doing? That's so
Hey, bucket
insane.
list.
So,
Yeah, it's
yeah, I just
terrible.
hated that. And again, it makes no sense. Genuinely, Ennis and Costner don't even have that much chemistry.
Yeah,
Um,
because
and
Jennifer Aniston is trying to be like charming and fun in the
yeah,
context of a rom com, and Kevin Costner is trying to do a Dustin Hoffman impression from The Graduate.
yeah,
And guess what? Surprise, surprise, they don't work together that well.
yeah,
I think Kevin Costner's not doing a bad job. I think he does remind me a lot of Dustin Hoffman's character, like what an older version would be. A little like slightly more confident, but still like a little awkward and a little like what's the word? Like very like too present in things and like a little bit anxious about other things. And I don't know, hesitant to commitment, very much so. Still, apparently, I don't know. It's just tough. It's a tough watch, dude. When the guy shows up and it turns out it's his son, I was gonna be like, oh, I was like, she fucked her dad. This movie could maybe win me back if they go even if they go
you
even
just go
farther.
that crazy with it.
If they go even farther with it and she fucks, because my biggest problem, even on top of like how gross and creepy it is, my bigger problem with it is that she goes and she then tells her family in the third act, and they're all just kind of like, everybody makes mistakes. It's just kind of crazy. But in the original Graduate, when the family finds out about the affair between Ben Braddock and Mrs. Robinson, it is like life shattering for the family. It's life shattering for every family. Everybody's affected. Everybody's hurt. Like this is like a scandal of the highest accord, and this
Yeah,
is like a scandal on
this
top
would
of
be
that
10
scandal.
times that scandal. Yeah,
And it's treated
be
as if it's like
infinitely worse.
nothing. Like who cares? Oh, you slept with this guy, and the grandma's like, yeah, he does that. Now you learned your lesson. And it's like, God, what are we? And the sister too. The sister like the sister's having a panic attack, and Jennifer Aniston's like, well, did you sleep with somebody who also slept with mom and also slept with grandma? And, and the sister goes, you fuck dad? And Jennifer Aniston goes, no. I had sex with another guy who had sex with mom and grandma. And the sister goes, oh, that's kind of crazy. And there's like, dude, if I was the sister, I'd be like, what? What are you
Yeah,
talking about?
and I'd be like, you also knew this information? Like, oh, you just happened to be with a guy that also did that randomly? No, she knew going into it. And also had only been absolved of like the possibility that he was her dad
Yeah.
5 minutes before then. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Again, fundamentally, like
You had convinced yourself that this was your dad. Like very,
there's
very heavily
very
convinced
little
your dad.
difference. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
sure, factually, he isn't the
Every
dad, but
girl
like
wants to fuck their dad.
exactly could be your dad. Like the only difference is just like had he not been Sarah, like that's it. Like the perfect age, had been with the mom at the exact time that she would have been conceived. Like this is insane. That's gross. That's insane.
Dude, if I'm surprised how well Mark Ruffalo took it when you saw them kiss. It was like the normal reaction that a rom com character has when he sees his partner cheating on him. He's just like, I can't believe you do this. Like, come on, what's
He
going on
said,
here?
"I
I thought
really
you
hope
loved
that's
me.
not your dad." Like,
Yeah,
what? You wouldn't be more stunned and
dude. If I was,
grossed
I'd
out
be
over
like,
it.
I'd be like, oh, what are you doing? Even if it's not your dad, that guy fucked your mom and your grandma.
Yeah,
What are we doing? And I would have absolutely no desire to hear out Jennifer Aniston whatsoever. I
yeah.
would be like,
Again,
you're an insane person. I don't care how vulnerable or anxious you are about getting married. This is a crazy person
yeah.
decision to make, and you are a crazy person.
Forget the
But
betrayal. Again, it's like, all
yeah,
right, you go out to a
I
bar,
wouldn't
you hook up
even.
with some random
I wouldn't
guy.
even be thinking about the
It's
fact that I got cheated on. I'd be thinking about the fact that I got cheated on by a lunatic who is having sex with the last person on earth other than family
some
members that she should
kind
be
of
having sex with.
incest fetish or whatever. Like that's Yeah, you're learning way more about Jennifer Aniston here.
First off, if I
Forget
was
the
Mark Ruffalo,
betrayal. Run,
if I was
run
Mark
and
Ruffalo,
hide.
I'd be like, your family's based on The Graduate. Oh, your grandma did what? That's crazy. And then if I walked into this, I'd be like, what? What is happening? This didn't happen in the movie. What are you
You
doing?
want to pass on those genes to your either daughter or son? Again, something ain't right
Yeah.
here. Okay, 3 generations end up
He
like
makes a
that.
good point at the end.
Do not.
Maybe their daughter will fuck Bo Burrows. That's a real risk.
Yeah, I would not pass on those genes. I'd be like, I need to find someone else that's not going to be susceptible to, another graduate situation. Uh, yeah,
Awful.
truly crazy. Also, just a shout out to Kathy Bates in this film, who
Shows up for one scene,
looked the
red
part
blonde
of
hair.
like someone that would be enjoying the tea of all of this.
Very disappointed that there were no Sound of Silence needle drops at any point. They did a Mrs. Robinson needle drop, but
They
never a
did,
Sound of Silence needle drop.
yeah.
Disappointing. Many moments rife for that. Could
Yeah,
have been a Sound of Silence when Mark Ruffalo sees them kiss, and that would have gone hard.
for
Hello,
sure.
darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again.
I just why would anyone root for them to get together again? Like, why would this be the happy ending? It's like, yes,
It's just
they're together.
poor Mark Ruffalo. Again, had they ended it, I was hoping that they would end it where, like,
Did
maybe
the
she's in the
dad find
elevator.
out?
He
What would he
didn't.
do?
Yeah,
He did not. They didn't tell him because he knows there would be a murder that he would commit.
yeah, for real.
My mother-in-law, my wife, and my daughter.
I was hoping
It'd
it
be a
would
wrap.
end. I thought it would have been cool to end on that Sound of Silence needle drop like the original Graduate, and she's in the elevator and she's like just doing that long take of like just kind of realizing what she's done
Yeah, the
and like
whole
the
point of The
mistake.
Graduate, the end is like they're not happy. It's a bad
Yeah,
ending.
they've
It's
made a
false
mistake.
happiness.
Yes.
Like, they should have at the least like, oh, maybe Mark Ruffalo's like, sure, I'll give it another try, and then have them
Yeah.
be like, oh, we can't go back. Like, this can't be saved. Something
Yeah, they
like
get
that.
into a taxi and then they're both just like upset because they made a bad choice.
Yeah,
That would have been like somewhat redeeming. But they didn't do
exactly.
it. It's just a rom-com ending where they're happy. I don't understand. They do a whole
Truly,
credit sequence where they're getting married.
yeah.
Horrible.
Do you think he was at the wedding? Poe Burrows or whatever his name was.
Maybe he was
Um,
watching from the street,
yeah,
trying to hit on Shirley MacLaine.
3 generations of women altogether. Are you
Insane.
are you all sisters? Oh no, grandma, mom, and daughter. Oh, that's perfect. That's just what I'm looking for.
That's my specialty.
Yeah. Okay. How many Pasadena secrets out of 5?
I'll give it 1.
I'm also giving it a 1.
It's bad. It's really
It's just
bad.
bad. Again, like there's certain elements of filmmaking are like terrible. There's some good shots, some good stuff here and
Yeah.
there.
A lot of
Um,
like Graduate references in the way it's filmed.
yeah.
A lot
And
of like
so
crash zoom ins, a lot of plant foliage in the background. Almost too much plant foliage in the background, honestly.
so
Every
that
fucking
stuff
scene with plant foliage in the background.
is kind of fun to see. Jennifer Aniston looks great in this film,
She always
especially in that
does.
silver dress. So that was at least worthwhile. But as far as like that decision, once that decision gets
That was at
made,
least worthwhile.
well, yeah, I mean, if you're watching something, at least let there be something
At least Jennifer
interesting
Aniston's
on
hot.
screen. Otherwise, what are we
I
doing?
mean,
I
she
mean,
is
if
good in this
the movie
movie.
is boring and
She's
upsetting,
doing the best she can here.
yeah, she is very good. So I think because again, I actually didn't think Costner was very good. Ruffalo doesn't have much to do. I mean, he's just doing
I
the
thought Costner was
guy.
good, but not good for the movie they were trying to make.
Yeah,
I think he would have been good in the actual like The Graduate 2, like as Ben Braddock, as an older Ben Braddock. I think he would have been fine.
yeah.
But in the
So
movie
again,
that they're making here, not quite so much.
so Aniston's character, crazy, no idea what's going on there. But again, her like performance, her saying lines, her being a presence on screen, I think she did good. But and then the Graduate stuff too. Again, I'm a fan of Graduate. I thought the premise, as they were explaining in the beginning, I'm like, oh, this is compelling. But once that decision gets made, I'm like, you've 1,000% lost me. And now I
Yeah,
retroactively hate the mediocre like beginning of the film,
yeah,
and every minute afterwards, I'm like hating what I'm seeing on screen.
I agree. I had the exact same. I wish we had watched it together because you and I went through the same emotions at the same time.
Yeah.
Now, Roger
So
Ebert famously gave North 0, like a thumbs down, like a full thumbs down, no stars whatsoever. Hated it. What do you think Roger Ebert gave Rumor Has It?
It's a great question.
If
I
you
have
had to
no idea.
guess his
I hope
rating,
1 out of 4,
he gave it a 3 out of
half out of.
4.
He gave it a 3 out of 4. What?
Isn't that crazy?
That's wild. Maybe he's
He
just
talks about
really
how
attracted to
he
Jennifer
talks about how
Aniston.
mediocre the movie is, and he's like, "Yeah, but Jennifer Aniston's great." It's his
She's
whole
really
reviews.
hot.
He's like, the movie's not very good. Everybody knows it's not very good, but Jennifer Aniston's really good in it. She's holding her own. That's his whole review for it.
Jennifer
He
Aniston
said
at that Casablanca party. Again, another plus. I love Casablanca, so we're getting those film references in
he's
there.
really funny when they reference The Graduate at that party, and then they both just get really clammy and awkward because
I thought they were going to go
of the
further with it. I
implication.
thought they were going to go and they like brought up a little bit and then just very quickly got diffused. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
all right.
pretty. I will say though, The Graduate and Rumor Has It double feature would go hard. Watching back to back with people who have never seen either would go really hard.
That would be interesting. Yeah, but I don't know. I don't want to watch Rumor Has It again.
Yeah,
I don't think I want to see that again, even for Jennifer Aniston. So,
yeah,
shock and
unfortunately.
awe, 2017. Reiner takes on political drama. We know if you know him in his real life, he's definitely very vocal on political
Absolutely.
issues, and he's done, the American
True liberal.
president about politics, and he did LBJ the year prior, so he's always done some political stuff in his filmmaking, but
Yeah.
took a turn here in the mid 2010s. I'm sure for no certain reason at all. So in 2017, we have Shock and Awe. Rob Reiner starring in his own film alongside Woody Harrelson, James Marsden, Tommy Lee Jones, Jessica Biel, and Mila Jovovich. So, what do you think on this one? Initial impressions.
Unfortunately boring. I really wanted to like it because I like the story. I like the period of time they're speaking about is a period of time that isn't often talked about in movies, so it's ripe for like original content. And I just think the pacing is awful. I think the dialogue is
True.
uninteresting. I think they
True.
spend so many scenes not doing anything political with just like a tinge of like the politics affecting their everyday life that I'm bored.
True.
And I think the actual like journalism scenes are just attempts to be like the great journalist movies of the past, like All the President's Men, and
True.
unfortunately, do not hit the mark even slightly. So it's just a boring, boring film about something that could have been really great because nobody ever talks about the invasion of Iraq that much in movies. It's such a recent topic, and it was controversial to speak of until around 2017 era when we kind of saw the results of that war in Iraq and the war in Afghanistan and saw what really did happen after Saddam Hussein was killed in the aftermath of that. And then only then did we kind of realize why the war of, or the invasion of Iraq was such a mistake and how much the government was lying to people at that time. Only now
Which,
did we really see it. So it was this movie was very fresh in the time to speak about a topic that nobody really wanted to talk about something that was also very unspoken of
which
how they're
is
lying and how there's no weapons of mass destruction.
the genius of it, because even in, I think it was a 2016 election, like every politician bringing it up, you can go back to like like even in the primary stage of it, everyone's being like, yeah, Iraq was a mistake. Like it become at that
Yeah,
point, like you don't say, oh yeah, maybe it was justifiable. You're like, it was a mistake. And
there were
now
no
at
weapons of
that
mass
time it was
destruction.
ISIS and ISIL and whatnot that they were dealing with.
Yep.
So they're trying to do that. And they're like, we wouldn't be dealing with this right now if we didn't go into Iraq.
Yeah.
So it become like popular mainstream is every politician disavowing Iraq and what happened there.
Mhm.
And then so you're just thinking, oh wow, it's crazy. Like everyone thought because the government was saying that there's the possibility of these weapons of mass destructions, or they are already there. Um, but there was a vocal opposition back in the day,
Very
and
minor
there's
vocal opposition, but it was there.
into journalism here. Uh, like I guess the only people actually doing the journalism was Knight Ritter. Like they were there trying to really get to the bottom of this because we've been down this road before with Vietnam, and
Yep.
they were like, "This is going to happen again."
Yeah.
And it wasn't just the government this time. This is the part that was surprising to learn about, of like the New York Times and all these other media outlets that have in the past like been very good at being critical and questioning the government. At this point, they were doing the same exact thing that the government was doing. Like they were part of the process of them spreading the lie to the American people that we need to go into Iraq. So that was crazy, and that's why it's like beautiful. Like again, All the President's Men, The Post, like all these other uh, films about journalists that create this big revelation. The flip side of it here is their impact was nil. Like they were after the truth, they got the truth, they tried to spread it, and they failed. Like they weren't able
Yeah.
to, get it to the public enough to create the outcry. And again, there was, again, I think to this day, like the biggest protest ever of all time across the globe is the protest against the 2003 launch of the war. So like people were
Mhm.
definitely against it even at that time. They were like,
Yeah.
this doesn't seem right, doesn't pass the sniff test. But again, the like mainstream position was, yeah, there's weapons of mass destruction there. So we need to go in at least to stop that and topple Saddam Hussein.
The
And
axis
so,
of evil. Have to
yeah,
beat the
and
axis
so
of evil.
I think like the premise is great. And I'm like, okay, I'm totally in on this important topic. Great approach to, again, that like journalism, political thriller drama. But as you said, it's just kind of boring. Like it's well intentioned, but it has no sauce, which is tragic.
Yeah.
So everything just fell very flat. Like, and the
Felt
pacing, I don't know what's
Oscar
going on
baity
here.
at
It's
times.
just like a super cut of them showing up to random people and asking them a couple questions. They don't even bother to like we have introductions with these people. They just put on the screen like who they are.
Like
They're
code
like
names. Like, yeah, they're like
national
official
advisor,
title. They don't have any
blah blah
names
blah.
whatsoever. Yeah.
Yeah, like what their job position is, and
Yeah.
so that like didn't quite work. Some of the stuff like the way it was shot just didn't seem cinematic at all. Like the James Marsden stuff outside of his apartment when
Yeah.
he's like, showing up there initially and his like drops the stuff. I'm like, this is bad. Like this is just not well executed. And they have
There's also just
some,
no. I feel like they talk down to the audience again in this one, like kind of like North, where they don't really bother to get into the nitty gritty details of kind of what's going on. They name drop a couple times with like Donald Rumsfeld and Dick Cheney, like the big names, but they don't
yeah,
really get into like the super nitty gritty kind of. They name drop Colin Powell. They don't really get really deep into the weeds with it. And every time they kind of get close, it's mostly just like they're saying there's weapons of mass destructions. There is none. They're bad, and it's like, well, what are they saying? And I liked when they kind of leaned towards like learning more about the region and learning more about the opponent to Saddam Hussein when they go and interview him. I think all that stuff is a little interesting because now they're getting into like a real person with a real name who we know
that was a good scene.
is,
I thought that one
yeah,
had some spice to it, right?
yeah,
Woody Harrelson yelling at him and being like, "You
still a
suck,"
little
and you
Oscar
don't know
baiting,
what's
but
gonna
yeah,
happen. Like you don't know what's gonna happen at all, and yet you're basically feeding false information so that you can possibly come into power when Saddam gets toppled.
yeah.
So
I just
I
feel
thought that
like
was
this could have been like a really topical film about the dangers of spreading misinformation in a political administration in order to accomplish a secret goal that effectively like hurts the lives of millions and millions of people, and very topical because of who had just been elected the year before this movie came out. And I don't think they lean into that sort of messaging. They don't try and like they don't have like a goal. It doesn't feel like there's like a singular statement they're trying to get across with the film. It just feels like they're just shooting scenes and cutting it together and trying to be honest about what really did happen, which is great. But then they also include a bunch of scenes where the characters are just kind of doing things that have nothing to do with the politics. And I don't like know the characters enough to be interested in scenes where they're kind of just hanging out,
yeah.
and those scenes where they hang out, they don't really tell much about the characters. So I don't know. I'm just bored, and I'm like trying to keep up to date with all the stuff that they're telling me because this is a very complicated period of history, a very complicated topic in a very complicated period of history. I'm trying to remember, all the information they're giving me, but then they're saying the same things over and over again, and now it's like, well, let's move on. What's the next thing that happens? Like,
Hmm.
what like I'm caught up now. You said it already. It's not like Vice, where Vice is like a little bit too complicated and they're like running over things nonstop, and I'm like, I can't even keep up with what's happening. Like Dick Cheney has done so many horrible things, apparently I just can't keep up. But this one kind of just runs over the same characters over and over again, and I'm like, okay, I get it. Donald Rumsfeld, Colin Powell, George W. Bush, Dick Cheney, all lied, bad people. No weapons of mass destruction. Saddam Hussein should not have been kidnapped and assassinated, and the Iraqi government should not have been toppled. Who knows what's going to happen? We do because we're living it. I don't know. Fucking. There's a lot going on in this
Yeah,
movie. At the same time, I'm just uninterested in all of it.
indeed. I just don't think the home life stuff was all that compelling. Like some of
Yeah.
it could have been, but yeah, I'm just not attached to these characters enough. And how do you make us attached? Well, we get to see some of their personal lives, but I just wasn't intrigued by it.
I
And
don't feel
then
stakes, man. I don't feel like there's stakes.
that was
You
the
watch
other
All the
thing.
President's Men, and it's about a much simpler like scandal. Like they just did some wiretapping. Is
Yeah,
what All the President's Men is about, and they caught them wiretapping. A much they say it in this movie. They say like Bob Woodward and the other guy. They did was catch some wiretapping, and they got a president out, and we're watching an
which
entire
again
administration commit war crimes.
is insane that Nixon resigned. He was like, all right, I'm done. Like I can't survive this scandal. We have a Watergate every other day.
Yeah,
Every other day we have a Watergate. It's insane. And we reelect them. And they said that
yeah.
too. Like this guy's starting a war. He's going to reelect it. He sure did. We've had, I don't know, I guess nothing's worse than starting a war like this.
Nixon's
That's
rolling in his
pointless.
fucking
Right.
grave, dude.
People throwing away basically the basis of American democracy and then get reelected next time. So it's like, what are we doing? This is absurd. Um, but that's why it's like, yes, this is important. It's touching on the importance
Incredibly
of the
topical.
press, the free press, and a press that is critical of the government.
Yeah.
So it should be like award winning, should have won all these awards. It had such a great premise, but it just doesn't have the sauce. It's just not well executed, unfortunately.
Doesn't got the
Um,
sauce.
doesn't have the sauce. I think the use of archival material was compelling. At first, I was like, I don't
Yeah.
know if I like this. But then I was like, no, I do like this. And then I
I
really
fuck with
liked
it.
it when I was like, this is Rob Reiner on his most petty because he was watching all this stuff, when it's happening live. And I'm sure he was like noting down like this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. Like the Rumsfeld doing there are known knowns, known
Mhm.
unknowns, and unknown
Yeah.
unknowns. And he was
Such a
just thinking, he was
dumb
like,
fucking thing to
this is
say.
the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I'm gonna put this in a movie someday to highlight
Yeah.
how stupid this is. He kept the receipts, and I'm like, that's what I'm talking about.
I
That'll
could
be
see you
me
doing that. I
when I
could
make
see
my
you doing
January
that.
6th movie. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm busting out all these clips, all this stupid
Putting up
stuff.
clips of the shaman, the MAGA shaman.
Oh yeah, all this stuff. But just of like we let people say these things, and like Bushisms was a whole thing for the while. And again, it's like
The Bushisms are
Bushisms have
so
never
funny.
been as bad as the stuff we've heard here.
Yeah.
Wettest from the standpoint of water will always be one of my and then drawing the additional Sharpie to show the path of the storm. And he's like, no, yeah, it's going here too, the place I said. Like, we could see that it's a Sharpie. That's not the absurd stuff, truly absurd. So I love that level of pettiness where I'm like, I know back in the day he was saying this is so stupid. I'm going to shine a light on this at some point in my career.
Yeah.
Like that, I aspire to be just like that with my things.
Mhm.
And even too, like the vote, which I thought was actually very effective. And again, this is my other thing. I feel like the film is most effective as a video essay because again, it's just like insane pacing. We're doing super clips of this stuff. I feel like if we
Sure.
just did a video essay, it would have been more successful because when he's cutting together archival footage of the one guy who voted against the Gulf of Tonkin resolution for
Yeah.
Vietnam and now is voting against the Iraq War, where he's like, we're making the same mistakes. We're going to see the same thing play out, and it's going to cost Americans thousands and thousands of lives and who knows how many Iraqis. So that with all the major politicians of the time, like he called out Hillary, he called out Biden, he called out McCain, he called out freaking Joe
Uh,
Lieberman, the 2000
John
vice
Kerry.
presidential candidate. He got called out. He wasn't even safe of him. He was like, "Screw
Yeah.
you," and Al Gore for losing in 2000.
Yep.
So
Called out
he
who
McConnell, of
else?
course, he had all
McConnell.
the
Yep.
receipts. And I'm like, this is like nice. Like this is great stuff to showcase these people who were still at that point, 14 years after that, were still prominent, and of course became even more prominent as Biden became president. McConnell was still, is he still like
He's still
head
in.
of the Republicans in the Senate?
I don't think he's the Senate Majority Leader. I
But
can look it up.
as of maybe 2 years ago is when he gave up that position. And so it's like, this is like the people that made that call going into Iraq.
Senate Majority Leader is currently John Toon, who assumed the role on January 3rd, 2025, following the Republican Party gaining the majority in the Senate after the 2024 elections. He succeeded Mitch McConnell.
Wow. So this year,
This
or
year
at
we've
least at the end
had,
of last year.
yeah,
So McConnell, for all that time, helming the Republicans in Congress. So just crazy stuff that like the same people that made that call initially were the ones that ran on being like, yeah, Iraq was a mistake, and we won't make that again. And then we'll see when the next time that mistake gets made. But I don't know. Again, important film, like important topic, but not the best executed.
Could have
But
been so great, so
I
much
am
potential.
partial to like journalist films in general, and
Sure.
so I like that element. I do like some scenes. I like the cast, even though they're all, I don't know that anyone's giving a great performance, but
Nobody was giving a very
they're
good.
all
They're all. I would argue that almost all of
serviceable
them
on
were giving
screen.
bad performances.
Yeah. Again, the writing just isn't there. We needed someone with much stronger writing caliber. You don't need to be Sorkin, but like, yeah, we just needed more edge to some of those lines, make the dialogue pop.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Again, I like the intention. I like a lot of the art values. I like Reiner being petty. I like him putting it all out there.
Yeah.
So I give it, out of how many known unknowns out of five, I'm giving 2.5 known unknowns.
Out of the unknown unknowns, I'm going to guess 2.5.
Two and a
Two and a half
half. Oh,
unknown
really?
unknowns. Yep.
Nice. Well, all right. There we go. So Reiner did have a fall off. I think, aside from probably my score for Misery, for the first two parts that we did of this, let me just bring out the films that we had.
Please do.
It was Spinal Tap, Stand By Me, Princess Bride, When Harry Met Sally, Misery, and A Few Good Men. We skipped over The Sure Thing, which came after Spinal Tap, but we went through each of those films, talked about them. I think every single one, aside from maybe my score for Misery, was at least a 4-star film.
Yeah.
And some 5-star, many 4.5.
Crazy
Our
run.
highest rating for the selected post Legendary Streak films, our highest rating was 2.5. And then we gave a 1-star. And then you gave North a 0.5-star, which I think is possibly the
Yeah.
lowest rating ever given on this show.
I think it is just because we didn't talk about a Minecraft movie on the show. And I think I would have given that one also a 0.5-star, perhaps 0, honestly. Because I hated Minecraft.
There you go. So Reiner definitely did not have as great of a run following the 90s, but
Yep. Are you seeing Spinal Tap 2 anytime soon?
I haven't yet seen it, so I'm curious, has he come back? Is he back on a classic making streak? He's
No,
not.
he's not. He's not.
No.
Very unfortunate. Do you want to know my brief review of it without spoilers?
Yeah. Give us
Um,
a couple lines here.
it's a lot of rehashing of old bits.
Oh no. And that's the worst
And
thing you could do.
not a lot of new bits. They're there, but they're also just not as funny as the original bits. And then the original bits are just beaten to death with the dead horse.
This is tragic. How does this
Fortunately.
happen? Like, how you make
There
7,
are.
8 classic films, all-time classics in a row, and then
No.
never again? Like, how does this happen? This is so
There
sad.
are some great one-liners from the actors that are still funny. But holy shit, that movie's boring. It's boring.
No. Oh no.
It was a tough watch. I watched it. I went and saw The Long Walk, and then I immediately followed up with a double feature watching Spinal Tap 2 because I didn't want to have to go home and go back to the theater. I was like, fuck it, it's 10 o'clock. The next showing of Spinal Tap starts in 10 minutes. I'm just gonna sit and watch it. And I watched it, and I was the only person in the theater. Nobody else was there,
Brutal.
and I low key kind of wanted to leave because I was so bored.
Jeez, man.
It's a tough watch. I'm not gonna lie.
It's an indictment if I've ever heard one for poor
Yeah.
Reiner in his filmmaking career in this late stage.
Not a lot of funny, man.
And he doesn't have many opportunities to do a big comeback. He's like 80 years old or something, right? So
I think it's just done, man. I figured after Shock and Awe came out in 2017, and we haven't seen him do a narrative feature until last week. I really thought he was just kind of done. I was resigned to Rob Reiner kind of ending his career this way and calling it. So Spinal Tap 2 coming out is just kind of I don't really think he's going to do it again. I don't think he's going to make another narrative feature.
right.
I think Rob Reiner's greatest strength was being able to make a really good film if the script was really, really strong. And I think there was a long period of time where he kept picking projects where the scripts were not very good, and it's just not his strong suit to fix a script that's bad. I think he's willing to just go for it And if you look at the 3 movies we reviewed, I think the filmmaking quality of them is still very, very high. I think he's getting his shots in really well. I think, like, with the exception of Shock and Awe having kind of bad pacing, I think for the most part, like, the filmmaking quality of them is all right. And the weakest parts are the scripts, which he isn't writing them, you know. But if you're going to be a filmmaker who doesn't write his own scripts, the choice of scripts you pick is kind of emblematic of your career. Like, look at Martin Scorsese, or Steven Spielberg, who are not really script writers. They are very famous for being given scripts and going and making films, and they have very good choice. They've always had very good choice.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess Rob Reiner just had excellent taste and choice in the 80s and the early 90s, and I don't know what happened. I guess he just hasn't been finding the best scripts out there, you know?
Very tragic.
But I think if somebody wrote a really good script and they put it in Rob Reiner's hands right now, today, and they gave him a budget, I think he could take that really good script and he could take it and he can make a phenomenal movie out of it. I still think he has the chops to be a great filmmaker. I think he's always had it. I think he just needs to find better screenwriters to write his scripts for him.
Gotcha. Well, we shall see. Although I don't think it's going to happen, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't think
so
it's
we'll
going to
leave
be a
it.
good movie. I think Spinal Tap 2 is probably
Spinal Tap 2. Definitely, yeah, we have confirmed in our little test run here that they say he fell off for a reason. So that is our third director analysis on poor Rob Reiner.
Unfortunate. That's all the time we have. If you'd like to give your thoughts on the show, you can email us at theboxofficeshowpod@gmail.com.
The main title theme for the show, Sundown by Joseph McDade.
If you like the show, please give us 5 stars on whatever podcast app you're listening to, and be sure to tune in next week. Have a great rest of your day.